as long as everyone's still recording, it should all still be synced up. There should just be no
Yeah,
lag
yep.
this time.
Yeah,
no, there's no lag now. It's amazing how a slight delay on a call sounds like Nick's not happy with anything we're saying.
I know, right? It's like Nick wasn't talking. We'd
Yeah.
say something, Nick was like, no react.
But then, like a second later, a genuine laugh would have like you're not like a real laugh.
Yeah.
But for just a moment, it was like, or not. Maybe you didn't like that show. Oh no, you're laughing.
Well, that joke didn't land at all.
But also the timing of it made the laugh sound sarcastic sometimes. Like, oh, that's the funniest thing I ever heard.
Yeah,
that also feels on brand for me.
It was hard to tell.
Episode 357 of the TV Dudes, recorded November 3rd, 2021. Making Your Escape. This week is all about making your escape. William Jackson Harper accidentally escapes his marriage and the life he's built in Love Life on HBO Max. A group of scrappy aliens escapes a mining colony in a stolen spaceship on Star Trek Prodigy on Paramount+. And the returnees of the 4400 need to escape government containment on that reboot of the 4400 on CW. Before we get to all that, I'm Randy.
I'm Les.
And we're the TV Dudes.
Podcaster Zero.
We were noting as we did
Unknown
prep work for
Species
this episode and prep work for next episode, we're in a bit of a TV lull right now. I liked the stuff I watched this week, but I definitely feel like I'm just like marking time till Hawkeye comes on, I think.
Yeah, does peak TV imply the existence of Valley
TV? We may be in Valley TV. That may be next week's episode, Valley TV.
Uncanny Valley television.
Because it's not great. I mean, I know like the mid-November is like the great Wheel of Time, Cowboy Bebop, and Hawkeye all start up, and it's going to be great. But
all of those will be at least worth watching happen.
Yes. Well, maybe not Wheel of Time.
Either way, like I'm going to watch that thing roll over a bunch of fans. Hey, everybody had to sit through me in Dark Tower, so
that's true. So this week, let's maybe just jump over to TV Diaries and get this thing started.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
I will start as I think, again, I watched more than I did last week, but I didn't have like a giant week this week. I watched the 4400, which I watched. I got to watch 2 episodes. I watched one of them just dropped today. So I did watch the second episode as well. And then after watching that, I decided I wanted to go back and watch the first episode of the original, which is on Netflix, and discovered that, oh yeah, I actually really liked this show. It's like USA Cheese. I think it was a USA show.
I think so, yes.
And it's got a little bit of that cheesiness to it, but it's a good premise. And I went and looked at the Wikipedia because I also, even though I watched every episode, I'd forgotten a lot of what happened. And I also forgot that it ends on a cliffhanger. Basically, they never resolved the show. So hopefully this reboot, they will get at least a resolution and not be left at like a season 3 or whatever with the CW. Although I think that's entirely possible too. We'll talk about the show itself. I caught the finale of What We Do in the Shadows, which was great, as always. I watched. This was it has the big ending.
It's everybody going their separate ways.
What was the episode this week? I think I caught it too, but I can't remember how they ended it.
Yes.
Oh wait, it was Colin Robinson, right?
Yeah. Well, so that was the end of the previous, but now there's been one more since
his face caves in.
Dealing with the actual that's the penultimate when his face caves in.
Oh, you should watch it. I mean, okay.
Nandor's going to go on a European tour.
Guillermo's trapped in a box. Yes, that's right. At the very end, so bad. Poor Guillermo.
I did like that where, like, no, you're only alive because I let you live. And I'm kind of like, Yeah, Nandor. Normally I would say this is Guillermo being cocky, but you are fucking like helpless without him.
Well, and then the total fake out of like, you've passed the test. Like, please stop kicking my ass.
Inspired by the 3 great Cowboy Bebop trailers, I willingly watched anime this week.
What have we done to you?
I watched 6 episodes of Cowboy Bebop, and it's still anime, but it's fun. It mostly just has me looking forward to the live action thing, because all things are better in live action. If they do a live action JoJo, I'll watch that, and then I'll tell Mandy how much better it is than the anime that she made me watch, and then she'll probably stab me.
Oh, sure, all things are better in live action. Just ask Avatar: The Last Airbender.
You know what? I knew where you were going.
Yes. Though tell me you don't want to watch like professional actors try to, with a straight face in front of a camera in the flesh, say all the lines from JoJo.
I would adore a live action JoJo. I'm sure it would be
guys.
Wait,
war
no,
crime.
there is a live action JoJo, Randy.
What, really?
There is a live action JoJo.
Is
no, I'm
there
sorry.
really?
Takashi. Sorry. Was it Miike that directed that?
Wait, is it on one of our streaming services? Because I'll watch that just out of curiosity.
I don't know. I'll have to actually check.
Yes, I'll have
to check. Takashi Miike made a JoJo live action.
I was about to say, I thought it was Miike. Yeah,
I will watch live action JoJo, just for the amusement of it. I went and saw Dune in the theater, because I liked it when I saw it, and it definitely was great in the theater. I watched a couple of Halloween movies with Megan. She doesn't do scary movies, so we watched Young Frankenstein and Addams Family, which I haven't seen the Addams Family, I don't know, maybe since the theater. Like, I've seen bits and pieces, but I didn't remember most of that movie.
It holds up.
It's really good.
I remember when I first watched it after a long, like, couple decades, and I was like, man, I hope this movie still holds up. And in the first minute, like, Wednesday Addams says, like, do you want to play a game? What's it called? And he's like, Pugsley is strapped to the electric chair. It's called Is There a God?
Is There a God?
And I was like, yep.
This is exactly the movie I remember.
Yeah, it's delightful, and I was so happy to basically get to watch it again for the first time, because I'd forgotten almost all the plot and a lot of the moments, and it was great fun. I watched the latest episode of Top Chef Family Style, which I'm really digging. There's something kind of wholesome about these kids, but they are not holding back on like the Top Chef stuff. Like this was Restaurant Wars. They did Restaurant Wars with kids. And
please tell me that it's Gordon Ramsay just screaming
it's
like
not
4-letter words at children.
So one of the
like, does a kid cry every episode? Is it Jenna from 30 Rock just like America's Kids Got Cooking?
This week there was a kid. She and her mom, they're from Long Island. They've been very, very loud. They like argue with each other. The mom is super obnoxious and controlling. But she also doesn't care about the daughter. And the daughter is like clearly emotionally destabilized by her mom. And they lost. They were on the outs this week. And the girl just bawled. And Marcus Samuelson, who's like one of the judges, like invited her up to the judge table, gave her a hug, told her how good she was. That was very sweet. And so it's like the opposite of Gordon Ramsay. I'm really digging it. I thought it was going to be kind of saccharine, but it's super fun.
Oh, I was really hoping they were like brine a chicken with her tears.
No, it's not Kid Nation. It's
to be fair, that blind kid's potatoes were bland, I hear.
I caught up on Ghosts, watched the last couple episodes of that, which I still find charming but not great. And I if it went away tomorrow, I wouldn't care. But as long as it's on, I'll watch it. And that's kind of how I feel about the Wonder Years too. Like every so often it hits a beat, but it's really, I think Dule Hill is killing it. Like Dule Hill is the best part of that show, but the rest of it is just kind of take it or leave it, I think, for me.
I think it's telling that every time I hear about the Wonder Years, I go, they remade the Wonder Years? Oh yeah, I watched that. Like I'm surprised every time I hear about it, yet even though I have watched the remake.
Yep.
That exists? Oh wait, I saw it.
Yeah. Caught up on Doom Patrol. That shit is weird. Super, super weird. And then caught the newest Young Justice, which is dark as fuck again.
Les, you might have been right about the whole depressing angle for this one.
It's
Although,
maybe too dark.
if you know anything about the Legion and Superboy storylines in the comics, it's kind of a misdirect and not really that, like, it's like, okay, I
It's
know what
not
happened.
it's not what it looks like. But like Les called out last time, the post-credit sequence is literally like a minute and a half of Miss Martian
Of
just
McGann
crying.
crying, yeah.
That's
Just crying.
So
Yeah.
Nick told me that in a text. He's like, "Okay, man, I don't want to say that you're right, but the end credits is just McGann just bawling."
Just sobbing her damn eyes out. And like while sad music plays,
I
and
was like, "What the fuck,
I'm like,
man?"
oh my god, Les is right. These post credits, they are like
Just
they're like, hey, why don't you go and kill yourself? That's what the end credits are.
I'm actually
really dark.
happy that we're done with the Martian thing, because Martian thing was interesting. 4 episodes was too long.
It was too long. I agree.
Especially when it's two characters we already fucking like. This could have been knocked out in an episode, honestly.
Yep.
Really, like it's
Or as an A story and give us a B story on Earth. Like there should have been something else besides this.
I mean, they also could have just been gone for an episode, and the excuse is that they got married on Mars with her family, and then they're going to do another ceremony on Earth. But nobody's allowed to go to the Martian one.
Also, you can't tease the Legion like that and not do more Legion. So I hope that the Superboy Legion stuff is going to be a bigger thing. Because I'll be pissed that there's not a lot more Legion later in the season. But it's still good. I still like it, but I definitely feel like it lost a step when it came to HBO Max. Like they're trying so hard to be grown up, and it's just kind of a shame.
It is weird how like when it came to HBO Max, they do like really weird stuff with like Cyborg being like the horror show of that Cyborg episode origin was of like, god damn, I thought this was for kids. And this was like a 4 episode arc of that. I was like, god damn, just like, can we show them fighting Condiment King for a while? God damn.
I went and saw Last Night in Soho in the theaters. I don't know if either of y'all have seen
Edgar Wright's new thing.
No, that was one of the secret screenings at Fantastic Fest, so I didn't have a press pass to it.
So all my movie nerd friends loved this, and I do really like Edgar Wright. I have to admit, I thought it was merely good. I didn't think it was as great as everybody's saying it is. I liked Baby Driver better as far as Edgar Wright stuff goes.
So the reaction out of the fest was weird. Like, we all knew it was a secret screening. Everybody was super excited, like, for the 5 minutes before, when the text around when it all found out, and then nothing. And part of that was, like, the embargo on it, but, like, it's a film fest, man. People say something. But then anytime people would ask, like, hey, I'm a little worried. I haven't heard any buzz one way or the other on the new Edgar Wright movie. The person you were talking to would go, oh, yeah, no, it was great. I'm like,
yeah.
That's not the plus I want from
It's well done, but I think the trailer promised a movie that I think the movie didn't quite deliver on. Because that trailer was really effective and creepy, and I thought the story in this one didn't hold together as well as I would like. I don't know. I just, it's a little weird. It's not bad, but I'm like, unlike say Baby Driver or every other Edgar Wright movie, of course the Cornetto trilogy is great. I don't see myself rewatching this one necessarily.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it, but
yeah,
I'm not.
It's worth seeing. It's really good, but I was a little disappointed, to be honest. I watched Muppets Most Wanted, which we're going to talk about on the Patreon, and after Les revealed to me that season 2 is over, I didn't realize we were that far along. I went back and started on Stargirl, so I'm on episode 5, which has the first confrontation with I guess art teacher Eclipso. So that was weird.
Yeah, that is super weird.
Art teacher.
Yeah. And that's for me. That's my TV Diaries.
Just to add to next week, Randy, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Diamond is Unbreakable, Chapter 1. The 2017 movie.
Oh, wow.
Is for rent on Apple TV.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not paying any extra money for it, so no. All right.
Find a way to rent this.
Les, what about you? What'd you watch this week?
Let's find out. What did I watch this week? Being, Halloween times, I watched Trick or Treat, which you just have to. Sam's adorable, and I absolutely love that movie. Dylan Baker, the whole cast is just great. The whole way it all works together. Trick or Treat's just one of my favorite Halloween movies. Followed it up with Ouija Origin of Evil, a prequel so good that no one has seen the franchise that spawned it. Then I followed that up with starting to watch Halloween Kills. And I've seen other David Gordon Green movies, and I would swear to God that they forgot how to assemble. This looks like I made it like 20 minutes in. It looks like a College Humor version or like an homage to or like if your community theater did Halloween and filmed it or something. And like I've seen these actors in other things, like Thomas Lennon's in other shit. Jim Cummings is another shit. Like I've seen these actors do. I've seen David Gordon Green do work before. There's something like, I don't know if they're just too fetishistic about this property or what, but this whole thing is just fucking weird. And then having real John Carpenter music and like obviously blessing in the look and title sequence and everything, it's just so fucking bad. I made it like 20 minutes in and was like, fuck, this is really bad.
Oh, wow.
Like this fails on a lot of levels. And so instead I went and watched a horror movie by people who also love that genre but did it right, Hatchet. And yeah.
Yeah, balancing the cosmic scales, Les texted me while he was watching Halloween Kills like I texted him watching Malignant. And that was one of the greatest reviews of Halloween Kills, was to see his text come in like, this isn't even like a movie. And then 20 minutes later is like, fuck this, I'm watching Hatchet.
Like, are we in did this movie start in the fourth act of a movie that I saw and somehow still don't feel engaged in? Yeah, anyway, I was like, I'm giving up on watching Hatchet. Hatchet is fucking amazing and everybody ought to go watch that. It's great. If you want to watch a group of people who just have, if you want to watch how love of a genre can push you through a somewhat so-so movie at points, just on gore and love for the genre alone, the Hatchet, whatever, quadrilogy is the way to go. Let's see. Then I, after that debacle, had to watch some Halloween episodes. So I watched a bunch of Brooklyn Nine-Nine heists. Then I watched a bunch of Bob's Burgers Halloween episodes. Theirs are great. There's one Halloween episode in Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23. I watched it. There's one Happy Endings Halloween episode. There's a bunch of Night Court Halloween episodes that I happen to have, and they're wonderful. And someday they'll be streaming, maybe, because they're remaking it. Watch the News Radio Halloween where they can't go to Jimmy James' party, which is wonderful.
Oh, yeah. Love that episode.
New Girl, watch the Halloween episode. That's probably the weakest one I watched, honestly. Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place, or whichever name change you want to go with on that show.
Right.
They have 3 Halloween episodes that are totally out of continuity. So people die, brains get swapped,
yes.
All sorts of shit. It's great. Watched all of those. Watched a bunch of Goldberg's Halloween episodes. Again, they do great ones. It's a big thing in their house, and they're always good. I'm not a fan of Modern Family, but that's another show that does a bunch of Halloween episodes. Always Sunny, trying to figure out when who got D pregnant is a Halloween episode. Then I watched Jennifer's Body, which we watched Eon Flux for a Patreon because Kyle loves it. This is the same director who also did The Initiation.
Huh.
That is a weird run of movies. And they're all great, but they're all way different. Jennifer's Body is so Diablo Cody wrote Jennifer's Body.
Yeah.
But Karen Kuzma, I'm getting her name wrong. Something like that. Directed these, and Jennifer's Body's fucking crazy. Yeah. That is a really fun, fucked up movie. Watched another episode of 9 Perfect Strangers, which I don't care about any single character on it as much as I cared about anybody in White Lotus. Like the whole tone's just different, even though they have a very kind of similar premise. But it is really fun watching Nicole Kidman fuck with these people. I'm enjoying it so far. Continuing on Fanny's horror movie education, which I never expected to get to participate in. So we watched Midsommar, which she made it through and loved. And now we've watched Get Out, which she also enjoyed.
Oh, yeah.
So that was super fun. I think we're going to watch The Initiation. Can't wait. Stargirl finished out. I don't want to spoil it for Randy, but this season they do introduce Helix. And so you can guess it's some of the characters that might be coming. and it looks like they're definitely going to be part of the villainy next season. And the season finale really wraps up just fucking insane. There's a real madcap kind of craziness to it.
I like the idea of a villain teacher in Calypso.
Well, Calypso just possesses people, and Calypso possesses people basically, and so you've got this sad sack art teacher who's romantic, and so like he falls prey to it pretty quickly. But the way they do it is an insane amount of vomited paint.
Yeah, it was creepy.
Like a lot of vomited paint.
Just to be clear here, Nick, did you hear Calypso?
I heard Calypso, yeah.
No, Eclipso.
Calypso, our teacher Calypso, very different.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's different. Yeah, sorry, I'm
yes, very different.
Yeah,
very
okay.
Different.
That changes the thing in my mind. Okay.
Though I mean, that can also be scary, like that scene in Beetlejuice with the shrimp scampi. Or whatever those were.
I also like what was it? I was wondering if Sportsmaster is the gym teacher. That'd be pretty fun.
He's not, but they do make a comeback this season, surprisingly. Which I love, because even though they're villains, they're so insane. Like just the way those actors play it, that Sportsmaster's a real joy to fucking see on that show. Legends of Tomorrow came back because I guess having delays from COVID means that our seasons are just going to be smooshed on top of each other now. Which, whatever. More Legends. Cool. And then, of course, What We Do in the Shadows finished out just really well. And then that's about it. We are going to share our spreadsheet we made of all of the Halloween episodes, season and episode number, and where you can watch them. So we'll share that sometime this week. Keep watching for it on Facebook.
Okay, cool. Nick, what about you?
What We Did in the Shadows, Young Justice, Reincarnated as a Slime. I rewatched some Inside Job. Went back through like a second watch through to catch some of the background stuff, which was pretty cool. Really like that show. I watched some horror movies like Carnivorous, starring DMX. So you can guess how that one worked out.
Why?
I'm sorry, why did I watch a movie with DMX in it, or why did I watch a movie called Carnivorous?
Why both?
Well, to answer your question, Randy, it was titled Carnivorous, and it had DMX in it, which are the reasons that I watched it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
They're also the reasons it's not good.
Yeah,
it's a real catch-22.
I feel like we learned the same lesson. Only one of us didn't have to watch the movie.
Yeah. What else? I watched Super Deep, which is a movie about killer mold. Pretty cool. Black Christmas, on HBO Max. I'm not sure if it is a remake of the original Black Christmas because doesn't really have anything to do with it, but still pretty cool. I like that movie.
Yeah, I really like that remake, but I think it irritated people that it wasn't a remake.
Yeah. Well, then after watching Prodigy, I rewatched some Lower Decks, and what else did I watch this week? Oh yeah, I watched of all things Dusk Till Dawn, the TV show on Netflix. The first couple episodes anyway, because I forgot that's where I first saw what's her name, Ayaz Gonzalez, from Baby Driver, like we were talking about before, Darling, and I was like, she is the most beautiful woman I think I have ever seen come out of Hollywood. Like she's just gorgeous. And in Baby Driver, she's hooked up with John Hamm, and they make out a lot, which has got to be one of the most other beautiful people I've ever seen. So it's I don't know why I don't like Baby Driver more. Like Baby Driver is my least favorite Edgar Wright movie, even though it has two of the hottest people on the planet making out in it constantly. Did I watch anything else? No. Oh, the Friday the 13th remake, where they kind of remade the first three movies and just smashed them together. It's actually not that bad.
With Sam Winchester?
Yeah, with one of the Sam boys. Yeah,
from Supernatural. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Padalecki. Yeah, and Daniel Pennebaker. So Killer Frost is in it too. It's a whole CW reunion.
We're just all over it. Yeah, it's a very CW night of terror.
That movie is surprisingly better than you might think a Friday the 13th remake remade by Michael Bay's production company was.
Well, that's a low bar.
Yeah, Platinum Dunes made that.
Platinum Dunes. That sounds like it ought to be on an 80s VHS tape.
It does. It absolutely does, yes.
If you're ever wondering if the movie you're about to watch is going to be good or not, if you see Platinum Dunes come up in front of it, you're in trouble. The odds are against you.
Platinum Dunes presents DMX in Carnivorous.
This is how I feel about Gravitas Adventures. But man, I want to go. I know I've seen this, but I forgot Ryan Hansen and Ben Feldman are both in it, and now I have to go rewatch it.
Yeah. All right. That means it is time for our other recurring segment, and that is Truth is Stranger Than Fanfiction.
Imagine, if you will, a reality containing television programs so bizarre they are indistinguishable from the ravings of a madman. Is the show you are about to hear simply a fabrication in the mind of a man with clearly nothing better to do with his time? Or is the truth indeed stranger than fanfiction?
Everyone I tell about this segment is like, that is the greatest fucking idea. I'm not sure that we shouldn't ditch this TV review bullshit and just switch to a podcast where Nick makes up anime.
I actually think that's a spin-off podcast, and Nick and Mandy should do it.
I don't know if we really couldn't fool each other, though. We'd have to have some other Patsy. We'd have to have Randy or Les on every other week. I'm actually glad to hear that, like, at least people that aren't listening to the podcast like that idea. I don't know if anyone listening actually likes this segment, but who cares? I like it. So
yeah, we should try to figure out how to blend those lists of people.
If only. Randy, is it your turn? I feel like it is.
Yes, I believe it is. It is my turn.
Your letters are H and S.
Let's go S.
S. Okay. This one, guys, is a show about, surprise, surprise, it's another school. Like almost half of these animes are. This one is about, what do you call them? I guess they're like kind of like Grim Reapers, but for like souls and stuff. They collect soul seeds. Like they're not souls, like souls that have like been corrupted or whatnot. And they're in school to like learn how to do this apparently, but they also already do it. It's like if firefighters were going to a school to learn how to firefight, but were allowed to fight fires while going to that school before they passed any sort of test. Feel like it's irresponsible. But yeah, we open up on two of these people hunting down Jack the Ripper, which looks like some sort of rag doll with knives on his hands. And one of the kids turns into a scythe. Apparently, they pair up in teams, and one is an actual weapon, and the other person wields the weapon.
Kind of a Wonder Twin vibe.
Wonder Twin powers activate.
Except one of them's a sword.
Form of sword. Form of Magisword.
Yes.
Form of water Magisword. Yeah, so they take it out and grab the in a pretty impressive fight sequence, they grab the soul, and apparently after you get 99 souls, you have to go after a witch in order to upgrade to a death weapon. And so they go after this witch, which turns out to be just a cat. So that does not count, even though this cat is super powerful, flies on a broom, has a witch's hat, and does magic. It does not count as a witch as long as it's a cat. So I don't know what the rules are.
That is some speciesist bullshit.
It feels specious to me. Like, It feels like it hits... For me, it feels like it hits all the requirements. I don't see what the problem is here. But yeah, they fuck that up, and apparently if you fuck it up, you lose all the 99 other souls too, so you have to start all over again, which seems like a fucking harsh penalty. But yeah, the apparently those aren't our only students that we like. We focus on like 3 groups of like twosomes, and one's a threesome. But the other one is like an assassin whose blade turns into a bunch of different stuff. Like, he can turn into a dagger, a kunai, or a throwing star, which is pretty cool. And he fights Al Capone. And they don't explain any of these references or time things, like, if they're actual Al Capone and Jack the Ripper, because all of these are, like, don't seem like they're set in modern day. I don't know what's happening. But, yeah, he fights Al Capone and his gangsters, in order to grab his souls, and that goes tits up as well. And we also open up on one of my favorite characters I've ever seen, which is Death is a character on this show, and he has a kid, and his name is Kid.
In fairness, his dad's name is Death.
His name is Death the Kid. He's Death the Kid. He's his first name Death, last name the Kid. And he's the only one who's he has 2 cowboy chicks that hang out with him that turn into guns. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Guns are on the table? Why the fuck aren't they all guns? It feels like that would be a lot easier. Everyone else is swishing around giant scythes or fucking throwing stars or all this really clumsy bullshit. And this kid just gets to shoot shit with guns?
Death the Kid sounds like the most emo hipster band ever.
You should see this kid. He definitely looks like he belongs on an emo band cover. He flies to a pyramid on a hoverboard in order to fight a mummy, and can't bring himself to hit the mummy because he's got OCD, and the mummy is perfectly symmetrical, which in his eyes is the aspect of beauty. So
yeah, his father's definitely going to take him to the city to see the Black Parade.
Yeah, but will you be the savior of the broken? The beaten and the damned? Sure, well...
I'm amazed that never came up during Umbrella Academy, and yet we're fucking with it now.
So all these kids are fuck-ups, like they can't get their souls or whatever, so they have to take extra classes. And they have a hard time doing that since one of their teachers up and died, and has now come back as a zombie that's hunting students.
There seems like a lot of rules for a profession you could just start with no training.
It does. It really does, yeah.
It feels like they shouldn't be fucking doing this as kids, but...
But on the other hand, you can start it up with no licensing, so...
Their teacher dies, he gets a statue, you know those little statues you can get of the Statue of Liberty? Like a little souvenir? He gets one of those thrown into his fucking head, and there's a hole in it now. And he comes back as a zombie and fights with his own tombstone, which is fucking rad.
Like, he uses it as a weapon, or he and the tombstone have, like, a rivalry?
They have a battle. They have a rap battle.
He uses his tombstone as a weapon. It is so fucking cool. I was like, how has no one ever done this before, where, like, a Frankenstein's monster or something just fights with his own tombstone?
Yeah, I was having the image of, like, a zombie crawling out of the grave, turning around to the tombstone itself and going, "You didn't tell me when I stop, you stupid death year," and just beat the shit out of it. I mean, I had a friend in college fight a stop sign and lose, so this is visually, I could see it.
Anyway, who made this zombie? Why, it was Dr. Enstein. First name, Frank.
No, I don't like that. I've let a lot go in this description, but no, I don't accept that.
So he's Einstein's monster?
Yep. Or I guess they call him Dr. Stein, so it must be his first name is Franken, maybe? Man, I think they even fuck up the pun.
It's probably Frank, and his middle name is N, and it's Frank Enstein.
Yes.
Frank Enstein, yeah.
No, I'm not proud about that. I'm probably right, but I don't like it.
Franklin Nathaniel Stein.
I'm not happy to be right about it, but I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Frank Enstein. Oh, I love that. That's so great. I like that. That's... Yeah, he has a giant bolt sticking out of his fucking head, and turns it, like, in order to, like, I don't know what he's doing. He's just constantly turning it. I don't know if it helps, like, his thinking or whatnot.
It's just a fidget spinner.
It's a fidget spinner, but it's the bolt in his head. they fight him up until he kicks their ass, and then it reveals that, nope, all of this has been a test. I'm actually your new teacher. Let's go dissect some shit. And they start to dissect, like, fucking endangered species, apparently. Like, yo, yeah, it's endangered, so this might be the last time anyone gets a chance to dissect it. Let's get in there. And they fight a witch that uses snakes, and it is like hisses, has a very snake-like face. And then in the next episode, they show their nurse, which is Nurse Medusa. And these fucking morons can't put 2 and 2 together. You kind of want to just go, her name's fucking Medusa. What are you talking about? She didn't even hide her name. It's not even clever. Like, is it Medusa? Is she a medical, like, a professional? Like, no, it's just Medusa is her name. Fucking A.
Why was it not? It should have been Dr. MD USA or something.
Yes.
MD USA, yeah, Medusa.
MD USA.
That would, at least that's like Coach Veratu, like in Rick and Morty level of, like, there's something there.
Oh my god!
You're kind of like, really? You guys can't? What kind of school is this where no one can figure this out?
Trying to punt across 2 languages here. Come on now.
But yeah, we run into some other kids, but like those are the most, like, the main characters, the main players, and everyone turns into weird shit. Like one person is a guillotine later, which is pretty cool. I don't get how a guillotine is an actual, like, functions as an actual weapon, like that can be wielded, but he himself is pretty neat.
Monsieur Guillotine.
I don't think everyone. I think it's just the Frank Einstein, honestly. But if they were all puns, that'd be pretty. I would have respect for it. But yeah, that's like, it's kind of a mishmash of a bunch of different, like, someone like just threw in a bunch of different references of, like, a lot of American stuff in there for whatever reason, like Al Capone or Europe's like Jack the Ripper. I think they fight some other, like, weird referenced monsters that are like historical characters or references or something, but I'm having a hard time remembering them now.
Hey, good to meet you, Ken Visibleman.
Yeah, I'm Wolfman. It's a Jewish name, Wolfman. Or I'm related to the Spider-Man and the Superman.
Yes.
The guys, is this show a amalgam of some sort of weird, Frankenberry, Count Chocula cereal mascots? It's just a sugar high after one big bowl of all of those mixed up, or is truth indeed stranger than fan fiction?
I think you made this up.
Okay.
I think this is wholly created. I don't know exactly why. I can't pinpoint it, but I think there was just there kept being more and more monsters.
American heavy references, or what?
I think so. There's not quite enough hat in a hat. Like, it would have been like, yeah, they get this job. They're reapers for souls, and there are monsters, but also there's an ice skating championship. Like, I was missing that last hat, so I feel like this is made up.
Yeah, pieces connected too much. I think you made this up.
The pieces are too well stitched together in this Frankenstein monster. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Well, like,
yes.
The teachers actually got hired to their strength somewhat, and
yeah. Guys, this show is real.
Damn it!
What is it?
It's called Soul Eater.
Oh, okay. I've heard of that one.
It is on Netflix right now, and you can watch it. I would highly recommend it. It's one of the better animes I've watched.
Soul Eater.
Yeah,
it's good. It's good, Nick, that you're up against us and not Mandy, because I bet Mandy had you pegged like 5 minutes into this.
Yeah,
yeah.
I bet
guys,
so.
I actually went back to and I might start actually tracking, like, your win success rate here for this game. You guys are fucking terrible at this game.
We're really
I'm
bad
willing
at
to
this
bet
game.
you could go back and re-describe them and we'd guess differently.
I think that's probably true. Yeah.
If you guessed randomly, you should be getting it right half the time. How are you fucking it up of all this?
The important thing is Les and I don't have to watch any more anime. And so
Ever
really
again.
that's a victory. So
Yeah, unless the patrons have us do link, which is a great transition. Do you want to tell them of the Patreon level, Randy?
Yeah, this does seem like a good time to tell you. You can go over to patreon.com/tvdudes, throw us a buck an episode. In exchange, we get to keep all our streaming services and pay for our hosting costs, and you get bonus content each week. This week, we are finishing up the Muppet Marathon with Muppets Most Wanted. We also have our $20 showrunner level, so if there are shows you want us to throw in rotation, you can buy at that level, give us a couple of ideas. Want to be clear, does not have to be anime, doesn't need to be anime.
Could be Soul Eater, though. With we can really dig into that nomenclature with Death the Kid and Frank N. Stein.
It could. It really could, but doesn't have to be. Again, does not have to be anime. Can be live action stuff that we might want to watch.
Man, those are some crazy clams, Kerm.
Yeah, but it's kind of fun. Ooh. That's the funniest sound I ever heard.
Yeah.
I didn't know clams made noises like that.
Get down, Kerm.
Hey. Wow. Hey, this is fun.
Yeah.
Funniest sound I ever heard. Now I can't understand a single word. Oh, is he serious or is he playing? I don't know. Now is all he's saying.
Let's jump over to the new stuff for this week, and let's start with Love Life on HBO Max, which I'm curious. I feel like I'm out here without my backup because Kyle also liked this show. Though Les sort of either really hated it or just didn't care.
Yes.
I'm sorry, which yes was that? Is it somehow both?
Sure.
You can be both.
Yes, it could be both. No, I don't want to say I don't like Anna Kendrick because I've seen her in things where she's amazing, but I don't blanket like her.
Anna Kendrick couldn't make you watch it, and I love that chick. So yeah.
There's times to me where she just seems like she hesitantly doesn't want to be in the show she's in, and I don't know, that there was something vibe of that just didn't come for me in season 1, and I made it through episode 1, and that was it. So I already like William Jackson Harper. Like I like watching Chidi smoke a lot of weed and be miserable, a lot better than watching Anna Kendrick. But the show still has the same problem as like Mr. Corbin or whatever. The Apple TV show. How do these things get pitched? Like, well, what's the catalyst that's fucking just like, I don't know, kind of unway boredom? Like that's the like, oh my god, what's the problem here? And like, oh, nothing. Like in the first episode,
he too white,
and he inadvertently kind of through no action at all. Through inaction fucks up his. I'm not saying he doesn't do something, but I mean, he does. I'm saying his character doesn't take any active step to change anything in his life.
Yeah,
like he goes kind of half on a date and then realizes like, oh, that was dangerous. I probably shouldn't fuck up with that. And but that like his life changes around him, but not really because he changes it at all. And I know that's what the season's going to lead to, but it was just like, Jesus Christ, like I don't want to watch a Noah Baumbach movie.
Still no. Got it. Nick, what about you?
Same basically.
Did you watch? What did you watch? Did you watch any of season 1? Did you?
I watched the first episode of season 1, and I was like, "Wow, it's so funny. This is one story for the first episode, and it still feels stretched, for like this this relationship that's just not gonna kind of work, and yet I have to watch it not work for 40 minutes, and this also felt like even before what's her name from The Daily Show comes in, this marriage is like doomed." they're barely ever like actually interacting, and like they're basically kind of roommates to begin with. So and yeah, he doesn't like physically cheat, but he does emotionally cheat, which like with this whole. And also, what's her name is shouldn't be sitting high and mighty either. She doesn't like I told you I had a boyfriend. Like, where the fuck is he? Like, it wasn't her fault either, but yeah, like you're also did you tell your boyfriend about this guy? Then you obviously know you're not doing something good either. So
is it my understanding of the setup of the show that like each episode is a different relationship?
I think so.
Of sorts, yes. It's a different, not necessarily a relationship because that implies it's not like
but I mean like episode 2 is not going to be Mia again.
No, Mia does show up again, but it's not. So I'll say this: I watched the first season. I watched the first 3, and I was like, yeah, I don't like this. And then I kept watching it for whatever reason. I think partly because I love Anna Kendrick, and by the end of it, I loved it. I was very happy with it, and so I went into it with that same energy of like I knew that if I gave it a chance, it won me over. And because of that, I think I like this better. I think I know what the vibe of the show is, which is that it is a very, very 20-something, 30-something show about watching someone fuck up and figure out their life.
These shows could benefit from hiring less pretty people.
Yes, I do agree with that. There's the bit in the second episode where William Jackson Harper, and they keep having to do this. William Jackson Harper is playing this sort of nerdy guy, and he gets with this college co-ed girl, and she pulls his shirt off, and he's William Jackson. He's fucking ripped.
Cut. Like, you forget how cut Chidi is.
Yeah, Chidi's really cut.
And she's like, oh, geez, she's like, are you an editor? Are you sure you're not a CrossFit trainer? And I'm like, yeah, they had to throw that line in there because, yeah, William Jackson Harper clearly works out.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, what's the first girl is supposed to be like, you shouldn't have shoot your shot. That chick's way out of your league. And I'm like, in what universe?
Yeah, that is the problem. He is playing the nerdy guy because they don't actually cast nerdy people to play nerds. They cast good-looking people who are actors.
Put glasses on.
Yeah, put glasses on them. So he plays it better than most, I will say. He even, as long as he doesn't take his shirt off, you can buy that he's a nerdy guy, but he is still a good-looking guy.
The most realistic thing I got from him in this episode was when that his rich friend that just became rich sent him that bill for the fucking...
Yes!
This mother... You are fucking rich.
I really liked... I thought the bit of like a guy who doesn't feel... He's like, am I black enough? I thought that was kind of interesting conflict to do. I liked... The third episode has him going home. And his mom gets him hooked up with this woman from his high school who is a train wreck, and he knows it, but his mom kind of puts her in his path.
Well, she's black, and they never liked the white chick.
Yeah,
spicy.
But I got laughs out of all this. I really love William Jackson Harper. I think he plays it good. I like Jessica Williams. I love the bit where he goes to the Jessica Williams' house and discovers that I guess is that a pro football player? I don't actually know, but he says the guy's name because he recognizes him.
It says it to his best friend, and his best friend's like, "Get the fuck out."
Yeah, and I didn't know who that was, but I knew that he knew the name, and he's like, "Postmates," and he just gives him some stuff, and I thought that was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
So I have watched this all the way through the first season. I'm actually excited for the second one. I liked this, I think, a lot more than you guys did.
Question: does the first season's arc end with Anna Kendrick's wedding to that guy?
I believe it. I think it must, but I don't remember.
I think that might be one of the previous relationships because that looks like it's fucking terrible too.
Because I was like, holy Christ!
Yeah,
like,
maybe
if
it isn't.
That's the arc of the first season. If that's the dude she ends up with, then I'm glad I didn't finish it out because like that looks doomed. I was like, which show are we gonna follow? Because that guy seems wild.
It must not be then, because I seem to remember it getting she gets sort of a mature happy ending.
Okay, that surely can't be where her arc ends.
No, but like I said, this kind of made me want to go back and rewatch the first season because I don't remember it that well. I just remember by the end of it, I really liked it, and so I'm like, this and Modern Love both sit in a place for me where I'm like, yeah, I kind of like these love stories. I kind of enjoy them. This is the kind of romantic comedy.
That's the one that had Tina Fey in an episode, right?
I think so.
In the first season, the Amazon one.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, you and Kyle both went bonkers over that one.
Adored it.
Yeah.
I needed Kyle to come in and back me up on this because this is the thing that he and I both like. But you know, Nick, you're always wanting the TV to just disagree more. We disagree on this.
Oh man, I wish we disagreed on something interesting to disagree about. Because this is just kind of like, do you like pretty people problems? I do. I don't. Okay, that's it.
Oh yeah.
That's like,
don't get me wrong. I do resent every minute of watching these people struggle like they're suffering through life, and I'm like, yeah, you can still go pick up a girl in a bar at any given time, man.
Randy,
like,
I want to get into a fight with you where you're like, no, you don't get it. And I'm like, no, you don't get it. Fuck you. I'm done with the TV. Wait, no, I don't want that.
That seems like a lot. That seems like
No.
that seems a little far.
But there's got to be
We'll walk it
somewhere
back.
in the middle where we're like having an actual energetic conversation about it.
Well, Nick, all you got to do is hate a Marvel show, and then we can fight.
Hawkeye.
I think
You're
Eternals
wrong.
might be the thing, like, from what it sounds like.
We'll see. Eternals may be the thing that gets me to go, yeah, that wasn't so good. We'll see what happens. All right, let's talk about Star Trek Prodigy, which was Paramount Plus. It originally was a Nickelodeon show, and then wound up being over at Paramount Plus. And it's the most all ages thing they've done for Star Trek, I think.
Yes. Yeah, it's through Nickelodeon, which Paramount owns, but still, this is definitely their Paramount Star Trek for their Nickelodeon audience.
So I have to admit, Nickelodeon did Avatar and Korra, so I know that they can do animation that appeals to me. I felt about this the way you guys felt about Love Life.
Nickelodeon also did the 3D Ninja Turtles series.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Is that good or bad?
It's not great.
Okay.
Well, at least for me, I don't like this 3D animation. I gotta say, like, Maya and the 3 was a very rare exception for me.
Well, that's got its own look too. Yeah.
Yeah, this hue's a little closer to Reboot. I don't know, this looks a little more like everything I don't like about Clone Wars.
Right, yeah. I was like, oh, Star Trek has its own Clone Wars now with the not really great animation, and the story's just
okay.
Yeah, well, and I was really surprised that General Grievous shows up. We've been confusing those properties for years, but when the big robot throws his cloak off and has his spider legs and his Matrix squid arms,
this was just generally grieved, actually.
Yes.
And then it's another animated property with Jason Mantzoukas in it, which I guess is some sort of death knell of like fucking Housebroken and Invincible, and now this of like, man, you can't catch a break animation wise, man.
No, it's just required. They're like, we're making an animated show. Like, oh, what part is Jason Mantzoukas going to play?
I expected to just like kill it with fire hate this, and so going in with expectations that low, I think is how it snuck out with a couple of like, oh wow, that when y'all flew the ship through the waterfall, I actually had a moment of like, oh yeah, y'all are some high school kids that stole a fucking starship. Okay. That's a little cool. And then I do like, because one of my favorite Star Trek characters is the very, very put upon, Jesus Christ, I'm a hologram, please quit forgetting to turn me off when you leave the room, Doctor. That was on Voyager, I believe. Is it Voyager or Deep Space? Voyager. But I loved that setup, and knowing that that's how they're handling Janeway.
Yeah.
I hope that they lean into that of like, damn it, I'm your nanny, but also I'm a hologram, so there's only like so much I can do. So like I found anything cool about it, I really enjoyed. Also, this was the show that made me realize that this week is some kind of interview trifecta, where folks can go look up the TV Dudes William Jackson Harper interview, the TV Dudes Brett Gray interview, and then also we interviewed somebody from the 4400 we'll talk about in a minute. Brett Gray is the main purple. What is he, alien?
Oh, okay. So, I guess I didn't plug into any of the characters.
I couldn't tell you what any of their names are.
I don't know what any of their names are. And I thought they did some really cool stuff with the ship. It looks great, but it's just, I don't know. I felt like this was a parts 1 and 2, which is weird because it's only 45 minutes long. I felt like it was somehow both too short and too long at the same time.
Well, sure, like at 22 minutes a pop for each episode. Usually this would be a 2-parter.
That makes sense. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
No, I had just gotten to like, hey, this has now done a couple of things I think are cool. Oh, wow, we're not at the midpoint. We're at the end. Okay.
Yeah.
At any point in like these shows, I always start to think, what would they have done with a 2D animation budget if they could have? And I always think of Star Wars Visions of how cool that looked, and I was like, yeah, I hate 3D animation. Like at least cheap 2D stuff can get away and at least have some moments of real, like when they save budget somewhere else, they have another thing where they spent it on a fight scene. In 3D, it's all the same level of bland.
Yeah, I would much rather see this be like Avatar or even a blend. Like I know Futurama was half like the city and the ship were 3D objects and everything else was like flattened to 2D.
Yeah. I guess the animation isn't a big thing for me because I actually like Clone Wars.
Well, I found Lower Decks more exciting and more it has much more investment in the characters, even though it's a comedy.
That's the problem. It's the writing. It's the writing is, and I get this is a kid show, but it's not a very good kid. Like Avatar's a kid show, but it's not a very good kid show so far. I don't know if I'll keep watching this, and I actually have been pretty into most of the Star Trek stuff, but I was like, this is just a little too. Like, I've seen all of this before. I could predict every story beat that was going to happen, and I don't know any of the characters' names.
Well, I mean, yeah, like She-Ra is also a kid show. He-Man's also a kid show, but they're making them like a little bit more interesting, at least somewhat in the storyline wise, to like to keep an adult audience engaged.
Well, Les, you said on text before we started recording, you were talking about as a premise. Bunch of alien kids find a starship and go exploring the galaxy is a fun premise.
Well, I frequently forget that there are other. It is easy to forget in the Star Trek world that there are non-Federation people.
Right.
And like so and I'm always scared and hesitant whenever anything Star Trek brings up that like, well, we're going to go to the rim of the Federation space and deal with people who and like, oh, you just don't want to commit to be in Star Trek, and it's easier to go be a generic sci-fi show outside of Federation space. And that's what I'm always scared it's going to be. And so initially when I was looking at Prodigy, I was like, please don't give me a Star Trek show populated entirely with non-Federation people. But I like that they have like a classic ship, and by the end of it kind of struck me that, oh, Nickelodeon's age audience, this is kind of a neat like, hey kids, there's this whole Star Trek universe. What if you and your friends your age found a starship?
Yeah.
I mean, granted, they're breaking free from a prison colony and there's more shit going on, but
right.
Basically they're like the big scary thing looking monster turns out to be like the littlest kid of them because we've never seen that before. and you know, so they're all basically like kids and a droll sentient robot.
Did y'all get a bit of a Monsters Inc. vibe on this? Too,
that may just be the glowing robot Fugitive 1 dude.
They're all like weird.
Zero.
They're all weird creatures. Like Manzuka's characters, they're all weird creatures. And I'm like, I don't know that they all need like someone could probably be a little more humanoid.
I would appreciate if this was. I actually like it better if this was a cheap live action show, like something like a Farscape or a Legends of Tomorrow.
I could see that. Yeah,
but it was with kids, and I'd be like, "Oh, this is kind of fun." Like it's Star Trek adjacent, but it's like it has to be super cheap, so they have to be creative around that.
Yep, there'd have been the one moment of flying the ship under the waterfall in the first 2 episodes, and that would have been the entire effects budget for the full 40 minutes, and that's it. Yeah, everything else would be like it would look like Red Dwarf.
Well, I don't know if this is going to make anybody's best of list this year. Let's jump over and talk about the other show for this week, the 4400 reboot, which also is not likely to get anybody's best of the year. This is kind of a rough week, guys. The 4400 is like Prodigy. It's actually perfectly good at what it's doing. I really liked the original 4400, even though it did not get an ending. I liked there wasn't a lot of superhero TV, and everybody was doing sort of what the X-Men and some of that X-Men show that I've forgotten now.
Gifted.
The Gifted, yeah.
Yeah, it was Heroes before Heroes a little bit. Only they were stingy, like an AMC level of stingy with doling out their powers in the original.
Yeah.
If I remember right, like we waited a lot of episodes for like one dude to float.
Wow, they're stingier than this, because I feel like we waited a long time for this episode to reveal one of them has a healing factor.
Yeah.
No, way stingier than this. Like the fact that people had powers in the first episode. I don't know, Randy, you rewatched the pilot. Did anybody show any powers in the original pilot?
No, I don't think they did. As I recall, there's a hint. No, I think it's like a hint of it, but it's really not. There's not much of it there yet.
So this is their version of doing it fast? Good Lord.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing. the thing that I think is most notable about this is that they're like, what can we do that makes this different in 2021? And they're like, well, the 4,400 would basically be treated like immigrants were treated under Trump's policy, and that is what they're doing. Like they're in a hotel, not a detention center, but they're being treated like shit, and they're sadistic guards. And I think it's on the nose, just like everything CW does.
Oh, you think?
But they've definitely got me built up to the point of like, I can't wait for them to murder this guard because he's a piece of shit.
Well, that's one of the things of like the CW when they did Legends of Tomorrow did a whole thing where half of fucking Firestorm had to like went back into like a slave plantation, and I was like, please don't do this.
Yeah.
Like I don't this isn't the place to do this. And CW CW doesn't feel like the place to really tackle this level of an issue of race relations. And when they do, it's so on the nose of like this fucking Shawshank looking motherfucker. What was it? Clancy Brown's character. Like, oh, I can't let them have fun with the piano, even though that's keeping them calm and actually is totally
like
working.
No one's telling him to do any of that. Yeah.
No,
and it's like, wait a minute, asshole. Why is he going against what would be in his best interest of like he's making his job harder. Why would no white dude would make more work for himself?
Oh no, I 100% believe him. I believe that character. I think there's people like that in police forces and guard forces all across the USA. I didn't have any problem with the credibility of it. It's just unpleasant to watch. But I do think one of the things the 4,400 does well that it should probably get credit for is that because it is a predominantly African American cast, we are getting a thing we don't always get. Sometimes, it's getting better about this, but usually when you get a few different people, black people in your cast, everybody's the same character because they've all got to represent the paragons of black people. And there's a variety of different. There's all different characters like you would have in any other show, and so they don't have to represent the black person.
They've also got a couple of non-binary trans actors here. Theo Germain from Politician and Work in Progress. The kid who can sing.
Yeah.
And then the doctor is T.L. Thompson, who is also a trans actor. Pronouns.
Okay. I wonder if because he's the doctor's from a period well before non-binary was a thing, and I wonder if they're going to reveal that.
I don't know if they're. Yeah. I don't know which way I'm hoping that'll go. I don't know if I want it more to not be a thing and T.L. Thompson to just play a
doctor,
or if they're going to lean into it. Kind of same with Theo Germain. I don't know if they're going to lean into any kind of non-binary stuff. So one of the things that this version of this did differently and better for me than the other one is they really get across the no time lost for these people and how disorienting that is. That they all think they just left, and that was the same, I believe, in the original one, but it just didn't. There's something about showing them pulled up by the light and then dropped like immediately that really just got that like, oh shit, you just got pulled out of a park and wherever and dropped in Detroit, and and I thought that was cool. But then after the initial park moment of them dropping, and even then it didn't really come across.
Yeah.
At no point in this show does this feel anything close to 4,400 people.
No.
At no point does this feel like they have more than 20 people in a room.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a COVID thing with not being. I mean, I'm sure it's partly budget. I'm sure it's just harder to get crowds on sets or something. But
they did.
Damn, use some software or something. Fill it out.
Well, when they do the thing, they reveal the 4,400 didn't in this iteration. They did not all drop in the same place.
Yes, and that's how they're getting around that a little bit.
Across the world, there's 4,400.
But it just makes. I don't know. It to me it broke something about it to never give me that sense of all these people.
I get that.
And so by the end of the second episode, I was like, I know they've explained it, but I keep having to remind myself why. Out of a show called 4,400, there are only like 6 people that we're caring about, and like 20 in the room.
Yeah.
And I just want to see like, you don't have to actually sensate film across the world or anything, but like give me a main character in each site, like show me the 2 French, because that's the other thing. You got 4,400 people worldwide, and Homeland Security's holding them. But thank God it's just, us three, so that when that guy goes on a smoke break, the two of us can take this whole group to a park.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? Who's running security for this? How is any of this working? So
they're definitely playing fast and loose.
Damn.
They're playing fast and loose with it's either the most tight security anyone can get, and it's only because someone is teleconnected that they managed to get out one person, or so slipshod that two kids can find the snacks and break into them, or the entire group can go to a park and do what they want. Like, they're definitely trying to have their cake and eat it too with that.
Yeah, and I don't know how the singing disrupted the camera as well. I guess she fell on it. But there's the first episode was cool, and I can already kind of see it, like, the edge is fraying on the logic on a lot of shit, and like, this is going to CW up real fast.
Even the drama of it, like when the one woman finds her family that she left 15 years ago, and he's remarried, the daughter's grown up, and I was like, you should have fucking at least somewhat mentally prepared yourself for this to happen. Like, you seem so shocked, and then of course there's a time on it too, because a bunch of people are coming. Like, we don't have a lot of time to spend on it, so it's a big emotional moment that it needs like 30 seconds to happen. And it's like, man, out of all the scenes, we couldn't let this one breathe, of her sitting down at a table and really processing this.
Or she doesn't get to acknowledge the family at all, and her brain just breaks as she's like, oh, it's real, the time jump's real, oh shit. But she'd already seen phones and stuff, so.
And also the husband, I know he found that letter or whatever, but also, like, wouldn't he, like, it tip him off, like, holy shit, she hasn't aged since.
That's what's bothering me. I want people to be like, you haven't aged.
And she's wearing the same clothes as when she left.
That's a weird stunt to pull.
Yeah, like, what?
Saved the dress and moisturized to fuck with you.
Yeah, that is one of the things too. It's like, there's a little bit of this thing that happens in CW, and it happens elsewhere too, but where if two people would have a reasonable... If people would reasonably have a conversation about things, a lot of this would go away. Like, the notion of like, well, it can't be, time travel's not real. And the guy does say it. He's like, well, how do you explain that these people are clearly from a different time? Like, you can't just say time travel's not real when it is very clearly real.
We can go to the other room and I can line up 6 people who are from different decades. Yeah.
And they're not actors. Like, this is not, you got to start believing the weird shit.
Yeah.
To what end? What would be the grand conspiracy of pretending this? Like,
it becomes the Scully X-Files problem, where it's like Scully starts looking like not the smartest person, but the stupidest person in the world for not buying into aliens at that point. You've been on a fucking starship, Scully.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the problems too, is that they're trying to have their CW-ness, and so they want to get like the drama and all that kind of thing. I'm like, you gotta delve into the sci-fi a little bit here. You gotta go ahead and go for it. And I think Nick's point is well taken, that if this is the faster version of this, we have one guy floating through telekinesis.
He didn't float. The girl lifted him.
The girl lifted him.
It's still just the one power, and then the singing person.
And the singing and the healing. Like, it's still too slow. They need to be going a lot faster. So we'll see. I may watch another couple episodes of this because I had a fondness for the original, because I want to see how they're going to differentiate it. But I think this is another sort of forgettable CW show, unfortunately.
I think the black angle is a great angle. I just don't think CW is the place to do it. I don't think they have the chops to pull this off.
I agree. I think you're 100% right. All right. Well, that is it for us this week. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Les.
Thanks, Randy. No dessert? Oh, wait. No dessert.
No dessert.
Thanks, dudes.
Dessert.
Thank you to our patrons. Thank you to our listeners. If you want to listen to more, want to listen to us talk about The Muppets Most Wanted and Randy's inappropriate crush on Tina Fey, you can listen to our Patreon episode by going over to patreon.com/tvdudes and throw us a buck an episode, and you can listen to all that content, all the Muppet movies, everything else we've done. And until next time,
TV Dudes out!
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.